surprising.
To the fact that Landau was funnier than him or perceived him to be funnier than him. And there may be more. He says he's not dishing all the stuff, just the stuff about how poorly he was treated from a working perspective, which is also really funny because Crowder was complaining about that contract.
I think we know a little bit of what wasn't being spoken about, given that something was filed in 2021 that we're going to be talking about here.
Oh, well, let's, I'm not familiar with any of this, but apparently there's a breaking video in the middle of the show. Let me tell you, I'm just kidding. I don't know what this is. So let's see it.
I have been living with a proverbial boot.
Pause it 1 second.
Neck.
This sounds like when you were talking to him.
You know, Crowder, you can tell when he's really distressed and he's nervous about saying something. This is fascinating because he has been doing his show for years and years. And yet still, when he gets nervous, like when, he was thinking that maybe Sam's going to jump on the stream or whatever it is, he tightens up in his chest.
I have been living with a proverbial boot on my neck for going on years now. Since 2021, I've been living through what has increasingly been a horrendous divorce. Now, let me say on the outset, to be clear, there is no infidelity.
Didn't he just have his kid last year?
The
twins?
When are his twins born? Yeah.
Well, they were born. They had to have been born after. Weren't they born after the debate? When did that debate happen? Or maybe that was in the summer.
It was in 2021.
It was right around the time that the kids were born.
June 2021.
Yeah, the kids were born like after that.
The filing was at the end of 2021.
The what was?
The filing for divorce was at the end of 2021,
okay.
And it was Hillary Crowder, his wife.
Yeah, now I'll tell you.
She filed.
Let me. But of course, I would imagine being married to Steven Crowder is even less fun. But go ahead.
I've been living through what has increasingly been a horrendous divorce. Now, let me say on the outset, to be clear, there is no infidelity, any kind of physical abuse at all on either side.
Watch it. Watch it. Watch it.
And no, this was not my choice. My then wife decided that she didn't want to be married anymore. And in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted. It's been the most heartbreaking experience of my life, what I consider to be my deepest personal failure. And just so you know, my opinions on parenting and families have not changed. I've always believed that children need a mom and a dad, that divorce is horrible. And I still believe that children need a mom and a dad and that divorce is horrible. But in today's legal system, my beliefs don't matter.
Women have the power to leave marriages that are abusive in some way, or if they're not happy. Steven Crowder is bemoaning that his ex-wife, too soon to be, had the agency to file for divorce without his permission.
Now, I also want to say, look, I should say this because Steven made it clear there was no abuse on either side.
You refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries.
There is no groceries. I'd be happy.
Steaks, wood pellets, my grill. Hillary, how do you respect me? No, you're not taking the car.
Steven,
You're not taking the car.
Steven,
You are not
then
taking
I
the
will
car.
ask them to pick me up. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
It's not correct, Steven.
Get an Uber.
Okay, Steven, I can't.
You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't be home. You're going to take the car and leave me here. Hillary, just think of how boxed in you've made me.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either.
Now, this is...
And no infidelity. He didn't say either side, but one doesn't know. Let's hear more what he has to say.
Divorce is permitted when one party wants it, period. So for well over a year, in the best interest as well as physical safety of my children, we've decided to keep this issue private and to resolve it privately with the appropriate attorneys, what have you, legal jargon. And in all this, one thing I want to be really clear about is certain. True north here is that my children are blameless. Familiar with the idea of extortion, then you know the feeling well. Now, some of these threats were so thinly veiled that I'm frankly surprised you didn't all guess immediately.
They produced the segment. segment. They produced the segment. They had it ready to go.
I care so much about my kids. Let me see if I can monetize this and work this into my Daily Wire feud.
And I have a question about this. Like, he didn't acknowledge the Candace Owens, what he's, gonna call what, extortion or blackmail, or allude to it at some point at the time that it happened. So why is he saying it now as he makes the divorce public? Because it doesn't seem to confirm that it's about, she didn't confirm it's about the divorce. Why would she blackmail somebody over a divorce if that's all there is?
Almost more despicable. I was sympathetic at the beginning of this, but now I'm starting to be nauseated.
I would like to implore my audience and everybody that isn't paying attention to this situation not to condemn him, but to pray for him. Sometimes people need a prayer. Sometimes people need a scripture. Stephen purports to be a Christian. I am unsure at this moment if it is my place to say more than that. Maybe if I feel in further defense, some things should be said, or maybe if I feel that the public has a right to understand certain circumstances.
Well, my children have a right to privacy. Now, some other issues have been, or I should say, inferences have been more pernicious behind the scenes with demands and threats to use this information that they believe would be so publicly embarrassing to me and my wife at a difficult time.
It sucks to get divorced. Nobody gets married with the plan to get divorced. I was uncomfortable and hesitant about bringing it up on the show, and I was, because people have, some people have listened to me for almost 20 years now. Janine was hosting the show when we were getting married and literally saying Sam's in his wedding right now. And, but I don't understand why this was so you could be blackmailed over it.
You should have went public with it then if it's such a liability.
What's the lie? I can also see I don't want to talk about it during the process. It's a difficult time, but keep referencing the children. Children are 2-year-old kids can't tell what's going on in YouTube wars.
Demands and threats to use this information that they believe would be so publicly embarrassing to me and my wife at a difficult time that it could be used, knowingly putting my children in harm's way. So to those self-styled Christians, conservatives, and allies, well, not in my book. Now, if you find yourself, I don't want to get into details, so this is going to likely be the only time I have to address this or want to address this. If you're asking yourself, hey, did X person or did Y person know? The answer is likely yes, which will be made alarmingly clear as this process of discovery continues. And it also, by the way, makes me that much more appreciative of those who did know about this and in understanding the best interests of my family, my children, kept their word and used discretion. I can't thank you enough. Sincerely, I appreciate it. Won't forget it. It's pretty simple. I loved a woman so much that I married her. A woman who, despite all of this, I still love as the mother of my children. And she wanted something else for her life. That's not my choice. She simply wanted out, and the law says that that's how it works. Now, of course, look, I get it. There are multiple sides to every story, but one thing that is undeniable in this case is that it's no one's fault but my own in that I picked wrong. And
My God, hold on, wait a second. I'm sorry.
Women are doing less work at home, they're unhappier, divorce rates are skyrocketing, and men don't want to marry them. Great job, feminists.
This broad leaves and takes half. That's also a problem that we have. This is the only contract that I know of in this country right now that exists with no-fault divorce states, which really means it's the fault of the primary provider. Sometimes that's a woman. More often than not, it's a man. It's the only contract that I know of where one side is financially incentivized to break it. In other words, today, if you're a woman or you're a man, but it's rare. It's not an uphill battle, even in no-fault states as a man to sort of get the alimony settlement. But it does happen. So I'm speaking in generalities here so people understand. But if you're a woman, let's say, who comes from meager means, let's sort of separate Amber Heard and Johnny Depp for a bit. If you're a woman who comes from meager means and you want to get wealthy, you've never worked, you didn't get a degree, you have no skill set, but you're good looking. Your best path to victory is to simply marry a man, leave him, and take half. It's a legal guarantee.
Crowder, who purports to be a free speech guy, is now threatening to silence someone's speech. With
Wow, here is Candace Owen.
I never see her because she has me blocked.
Steven Crowder accusing me of extortion is so patently insane that it honestly makes me question how there are still people who cannot see how thoroughly undone he has become. This is not stable behavior. He is a man on a spiral, outright bizarre and concerning. She follows up by saying, if you're going to use your children as human shields, I mean, you know what? Listen, far be it for me to agree with anything that Candace Owen says, but it was quite clear.
That's our independent conclusion.
Yes.
Broken clock here.
As human shields to block people from digging further into your divorce.
See?
Please do so without inserting me in the narrative, Steven Crowder. To remind people, the video Steven used in his show of me was a video of me responding to Steven's first set of bizarre attacks against the Daily Wire. Steven is not the victim. He never was the victim. He's just a bad person who continues to burn a lot of people. And then we have all the people who paid $8 to be in the thing, and it's not worth. For all we know, Steven Crowder could be responding to that, but you'd have to scroll all the way down to see unless he paid for his $8.
I'm sure
in the meantime,
he did.